lot of my previous work, I've always been a very big believer in adapting the artwork tone to the surface, and that's always been something that is overarching over all my works that I've done. So when working with concrete, I'll often match to the concrete so it looks almost like a tattoo in that surface. In this scenario here, I was really starting to look around towards the ground and towards the textures in the rock and in the nature, and where the water goes over the rocks, because I want those colors around that base to come up into the piece. And it only seemed to blend in once it became really covered and the wall became now dominated by the artwork instead of the wall dominating the artwork. A typical day for us while working on this project basically been shaped around the movement of the scaffolding, which has been a constant deadline that we have to meet. There's been 30 different times that the scaffold has to be moved, and each time is a whole large section. So I will be operating an airless spray gun and basically painting while it's moving up and down, until we get to a point where I start to finesse it with the brush, and then they often drive in the gate to move it.
In designing the bespoke swing stage, what we needed to look at was the design and the access system that was needed, how big an area he needed to get to at a time, how fast we had to move it, and so that's what we sort of aimed at doing, is just being able to get him up and down the hill, so to speak, as efficiently as possible and relocate it as quickly as we can. What we did is we built what we call the carriage, which is his work platform in the initial position, and then we've got wire ropes dangling down from the top of the wall, which we attached to some electric motors. So in the design of that carriage at the bottom, when we go to relocate it, we simply jacked it up at the front, relocated our wires across to the next position, and essentially just drove it sideways. And what that did is enable us to relocate that quite quickly in about a 4-hour process, which meant that Guido was painting, pretty much in the afternoon, ready to go again.
With the sealing of this wall, the reasons that we are sealing it is to obviously preserve the painting. The painting itself is obviously taken a long time to get down, so we want to make sure we can preserve it and longevity as long as possible. Our method was rope access, so we use rope access because it's a lot more quicker, efficient, and we find it a lot safer, especially if we're working at heights. So the sealant that had been provided to us, which had been obviously scrutinised for the environmental purposes, the sealing itself is a clear sealant, so the method of applying is air spray, and that's the best form of method for that material itself. And the biggest challenges is also environment, so that's the biggest priority.
The Wellington National Park itself has always been special to me personally, but more so in recent times is a jewel in the southwest, where only 2 hours away from Perth, 3/4 an hour away from Bunbury, 3/4 an hour away from Donnybrook, where it becomes a central focus. It's not just a collie issue, but certainly a central focus that is there, and people are going to feed off that already. In the Ferguson Valley, there's higher rates of occupancy in those areas because of the Wellington Dam and the forest that surround it. The mural is the icing on the cake.
It's great for tourism, but it's also great for local pride, showcasing the history of the area, the beauty of the area, the remarkable Indigenous, industrial and local history. I think will enhance people's perception and people's pride in Collie and surrounds.
When we first were scoping out the dam mural project, a lot of people said it couldn't be done. And so if anything, what this project has really reinforced to me is that if you get the right people with the right mindset and the right resource, well, anything is possible. You can do just about anything.